one of the challenges you can get in is that you can have some of your stuff over here, some of your stuff over here. Nobody can find things. And then it just gets frustrating. And then the other piece to it, B, is that you need to make sure that people are actually using the systems.
Yes, that's another challenge. Exactly.
Yes, because when you do something new and people are used to doing it a certain way, I mean, do you find this? People get stuck in habit. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Scale It Method, where we teach you to reach the next level in your business, build your dream team, and scale beyond 8 figures. Too many business owners are stuck trying to do everything themselves, and their businesses are suffering as a result. And I don't want you to be one of those people. I'm Allison Maslan, and my company, Pinnacle Global Network, has helped thousands of business owners scale their companies using our framework, the Scale It Method. All business owners face similar challenges when it comes to growth. So, on this podcast, we're delivering the tactics you need to finally reach the next level in your business, build your dream team, and scale beyond 8 figures. Today, I am super excited. We are doing something a little different on the show lately, and we're actually going to be doing coaching of amazing business owners that have already accomplished some great success, but they're really ready to hit that next level. So, we're going to dive into their business today. And my sense is that you're going to relate to some of the challenges that our guest is having today, and you can apply the solutions that I'm sharing with her to your business. So today I want to introduce to you V Nistane, and she is the president at Crave Infotech. And in her current role, she wants to ensure the vision and mission that her organization has met. She has built her expertise over the years as a consultant and solution expert. And now she focuses these learnings along with her superb teams to deliver intelligent asset management, intelligent warehouse management, and much more across industries like life sciences, manufacturing, oil and gas, utilities, CPG, distribution, and logistics. So, V, so excited to have you here on the Scale It Method. How are you doing?
I am doing great, Allison, and I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. And, I've had the honor and the pleasure to, see your growth over the last few years. And so, why don't you tell everybody, first of all, a little bit about your business?
All right. So, hi everyone. My name is Venus Thane. I am the president and co-founder at Crave Infotech. We are an SAP partner. SAP delivers ERP software, and we've been in business for 15 plus years, but we've really seen growth this year. We worked with Allison last year, and that has been amazing. It has been life changing, and it can be proven because I am one of the examples that I have benefited so much from Allison. So what we do at Crave is we are an SAP partner. Our focus is again on intelligent asset management, intelligent warehouse management, and from last year and late last year and this year we've been focusing a lot on SAP's business technology platform. It is a cloud solution from SAP, and all the SAP users who currently have licenses, that BTP is the next step for them. That's the way to go for all users. So the market is huge. The opportunity is tremendous, and we are very excited for 2023.
Yeah, I'm so excited too. And what do you feel like the biggest changes have been in your business the last few years?
So first and foremost, I think that the change that I would say would be in me personally, it was a mindset change. And again, thanks to you. I mean, I was thinking small, but now I think abundance. And believe me, if you think abundance, the universe gives it to you. So from 2022, from 2021, excuse me, going into 2022, our revenue has grown 3x, and our number of employee has grown about 4x, and we see same amount of growth, even though I don't know if you're gonna hit recession or not. I'm not an expert at that, but no matter what, we still see tremendous growth going into 2023. So again, it started with a mindset change.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, so tell me, what do you feel are the biggest gaps that you have right now? So, like, if there was one thing by the end of this podcast today, this interview, that I could help you with, what would be that one thing?
So I think probably having processes and implementing them throughout the organization is one thing we still got to focus on, because if this is the kind of growth that we're gonna see for next year and moving forward, we want to ensure our base or the is pretty strong. So until and unless we have proper processes in place and those are implemented across the organization, it will be, I don't think we can probably sustain the growth.
Right. No, I totally get it because as you grow, right, you have more things to get your arms around, more things can slip through the cracks. You're taking care of a lot more people. And, when you're sitting at a table with a small group, you can all discuss things and go on. But when you grow way beyond that, you really have to make sure that you have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. So, where do you think that, like, if you look throughout your company and you say, okay, this is where we're really struggling as far as those processes, procedures, where the team might be struggling, where maybe your customers are feeling it. What do you feel is happening there? If you can give me a little bit of a visual.
So again, one thing probably is because we had a huge turnover when pandemic hit. That's one of the reason that we lost the people that we had, and new people have come into the organization. Of course, it's new blood, new energy. But again, making sure we take each department and ensure that, for example, when we get a lead, right from marketing qualified lead to sales qualified lead, and being handed it over to operations, we want to make sure it's a smooth process. Currently, I mean, things are going good, don't get me wrong, but still, we do not have like an ironclad process that this is what happens when first we get a lead, and then this is what it should happen, and going forward into operations, delivery, and finally delivering a successful project, and then moving on to support. So
Right.
we know that the stuff, but it's not documented, and again, having new people probably is an added advantage because they are open to new ideas, new processes, and getting, I mean, not having the old people with a different mindset probably is also good, because now we can implement these. But it's just that taking the time to document all these and implementing will take some time, but that's the gap for us right now.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little training with you while I'm on here because I think sometimes when I do these coaching sessions, it's really about helping you see where the gap is and how we might be in our own way or what are some specific strategies that we can apply. I think what I'd like to do is just share with you, and of course, you're going to be able to go back and listen to the recording to this, V, is some strategies on building systems within your company. And we'll also talk a little bit about that journey, since that seems to be a sticking point, is when the lead comes in and that is, handed to the sales team and then going to the operations team to make sure that you have a real seamless journey. Does that sound good?
Absolutely, that sounds fantastic.
Okay. So, first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 30,000-foot view first, as far as building systems within your company. And then I'll dive a little bit deeper and go specific on that customer journey piece. So, I talk about this in my book, Scale or Fail, too. So, anybody listening can go get this and read it further. But, as you grow, you really want to look at where are the systems and processes so that people know what to follow. And if you do lose somebody or somebody moves on or you let somebody go, you can easily put somebody else in that and they know the steps that they need to take. And then as you grow, you're going to need to put new systems in. You might find that if things slip through the cracks, somebody makes a mistake, or, there's a breakdown for whatever reason, you will realize, oh, there is a hole in my system and I need to put something there, right? And
Yes.
so I call this the systemizer. And it's really pretty simple. Basically, what you do is you look at every single department in your business and you just make a list of every single department. And then within those departments, and you can assign this to your team. It shouldn't be you, but you go to your team in sales or in marketing or in HR or, customer service, whatever it is. And you have them make a list of all of the things that they're doing on a regular basis or that they repeat. It could
Okay.
be weekly, monthly, daily. It could even be we do an event twice a year, and these are all the things we do for that. But it's not the one off things, it's things that you generally are going to do over and over, which are most of the things that you are going to do in your business. So you get a list of all those things. So you're going to have you're going to list your departments, and underneath those departments, then you're going to list all of the repetitive tasks, projects, things like that. Then you're going to have them. So this is an assignment you're going to be giving, and it's going to take some time. Just know this does not happen overnight. I mean, you really need to give your business a good 6 months to a year to build in all the systems. Don't stress yourself out trying to do it in a shorter period of time, because you want to do it right. But
Right.
you take in each of those repetitive projects, tasks, whatever they are, deadlines, then whoever is responsible for that project or task, or even if it's a few people or a team, you have them get together and you have them discuss every single step that's needed to happen. So, for instance, we lead big events, which you've been to, right? And
Right.
so we have another one coming up in May. And so because we have done our events over and over the years, now we always make them better, so we're always going to add new things, but we're not starting from scratch. So we know, step 1 is let's reserve the hotel. So we know that we have that date. And then let's update the sales page. So what are all the things that have to happen with that? And you begin to first just recognize and list all of those things. And then the next step, once you've listed all of those things, then you need to decide what systems are going to be needed for that. So, all of these things could be listed with instructions just in a Google Drive or a Google Doc. You could have a certain software that you use. One of the softwares that we use is called Process Street, but there are many others. But one thing that I like about this is that it actually can notify somebody that, oh, it's their turn, on that system and process journey, their piece is due. And so you can assign it to them. You could also do this in Asana, where people are assigned their tasks and so forth. But for every single thing that you do in your business, every single step, then you have to have the order documented, who is responsible. And you could also make videos. So for some of the things that we do, we make videos. So for instance, what we're going to do with this podcast is, once it's done, all of the steps that need to happen to make sure that it's downloaded correctly and that the editing is done correctly and that it's uploaded to Libsyn or all of the places that the podcast needs to go. Every step is documented because otherwise you're just recreating the wheel every single time. And it's just going to take
Exactly.
so much more time. But the key is really wrapping your arms around all the steps and then figuring out, okay, how do we want to store this? Is it going to be, recorded in a bunch of, Loom videos? Is it going to be in, photographs with things typewritten out, and it's going to be on Dropbox? Whatever works for your team. But the key is that everybody has to be consistent, because one of the challenges you can get in is that you can have some of your stuff over here, some of your stuff over here. Nobody can find things, and then it just gets frustrating, right? So that is key. And then the other piece to it, V, is that you need to make sure that people are actually using the systems.
Yes, that's another challenge. Exactly.
Yes, because when you do something new and people are used to doing it a certain way, I mean, do you find this? People get stuck in habit. And so they keep doing what they've been doing and they're not using the new software or the new steps. Now, here's something that is interesting. I was listening to this woman who had been the CEO of PepsiCo, and it was a great talk that she provided. She was an absolutely amazing CEO there. I believe she was the CEO for over 10 years, maybe 12 or 13 years. And PepsiCo is a huge corporation. And what she did was she wanted to get to know every part of the business. And I love this story. She got on one of the trucks that in the middle of the night that was delivering Pepsi to the stores because she wanted to see how they were looking on the shelves. Okay. So I thought
Okay.
that's dedication. So whoever was driving the truck didn't even know that she was the CEO, that, she was kind of undercover, let's just say. And so this was a gentleman that was driving the truck. He'd been doing it for years. And when they came to a stop, he pulled out his board where he was writing down his notes. And she noticed he's not using the software that we implemented with the company. And she said to him, "Why are you not using the software? Why are you writing this down, on this slip of paper?" And he said, "Oh, that software is just too complicated. This is the way I always do it." And what she realized was that, okay, for this older generation that had been doing it a certain way for a long time, they need more training. So it was insightful for her to see that, right? So you have to really look at where are the stuck points for people to adopt the new processes that you put in place. One of the things that we do is that we do a systems and processes meeting every single month, because I was finding years ago that we would do these new things and some of the people would use it and some of them wouldn't. And so once a month, we get on, we talk about the new systems and processes that we're using and how it's affecting and improving the company. And this is how you use it. If you're one of the people that are going to be responsible or are going to be using it in one way or another. So
Okay.
that really helped a lot. The other thing is, and one of the reasons I say is to really spread this out over time, is that, when people have to learn too many new things at once, it can get very overwhelming and then they don't do it at all.
I agree, but even the point that you made is just having once a month meeting and to showcase what's new in the system and how it can be easily utilized by the users probably will be a lot beneficial.
Extremely. You just, with anything, right? With your vision of
Yes,
your company, with your systems and processes, whatever you're doing, you have to get everybody all in. Or
right.
it
The
won't work.
buy-in is important.
The buy-in is important. I think people need to understand the why and how it's going to benefit them as well.
Right,
Because if somebody in your company is let's say they're in customer service, for instance, they probably are not interested at all about what somebody is doing in HR or in marketing. But I do feel like it's important for each role of the company to understand how their role impacts the company as a whole.
Right. Yes. So they feel that they, of course, I mean, they should feel part of the organization, but how important role, the role that play is important, like it affects everybody throughout the organization, even though they might be working in their own silo, but
Yeah.
everybody gets affected by that.
Yes, and bring people together as often as you can. And I think it will help them to feel more value about what they bring to the table. And also the end, like the net. Like you're doing amazing work for organizations that, you're helping them to get more systemized, to be more efficient, to be more successful, right? With all of the IT and software and all the things that you do for them. And I think if each person within your company, whatever role, if they can see the end result, how it's changing lives, how it's affecting not only the companies, but their employees and their families, and I think that is really important. That helps people to feel more engaged and more motivated to, step up to the plate and be more passionate. I think that's
Yes,
really
that's
key.
a very good suggestion. And I think so they can see the end results with the work that they are doing. They see that how it's affecting the companies, the people working for the companies, and not just from an ROI perspective, but also like how they are making the end user's life easy.
Yes. Yes, and, success stories and testimonials. I mean, this is what helps make people feel fulfilled and happy, and when people are happier, they are more focused. They are
Yes.
more motivated. I mean, they've done studies on this. We know this to be a fact. So that's kind of the bigger picture of systems. And again, there's so many different types of software and things that you can do. I would say keep it as simple as possible. Less is more. And obviously, you as the CEO, and I mean, as the president of your company, should not be the one that is, building all of these systems. You have people that's their expertise. Now, let's talk a little bit about the customer journey because I think that's where some things might be falling through the cracks for you.
Yes.
We have a lot of tools in Pinnacle in our scale it method, which is our proprietary process. And so for me, I'm very visual and I like to see the journey. And I know from many of our clients that it's super, super helpful to have a process to follow. And one of those processes is having a specific journey from prospect to lead to conversion to building long-term relationships, right? Great customer
Yes.
care to upsells and cross-sells and then building a referral community. And so we have this roadmap in the sales and marketing blueprint that is 11 steps and I have each step in a box. And so the first one, you list out what your revenue streams are. I'm just going to take you through this journey.
Sure.
And so what you would want, V, is to have a system in place for each of these steps because each of these steps is an important part of the process. So you have your offering, right? What you provide, your service. That's the first box. Okay.
Yes.
And the next box is we call your scalable model because that's what we specialize in Pinnacle, as you know, is helping people to have a more scalable company. So whatever your scalable model is, I know you do software. That's a real scalable model. For us, having the scale it method, and then we have a team of mentors that use that method so that they can help a lot more people than I would be able to do by myself. So replicating your talent with a team, that's a scalable model. The next box is to determine your target market. Now, most of you that are listening probably know who your target market is, but it changes over time. V, have you noticed over time that your target market has changed?
Absolutely. So not just from like an age group perspective, but also, even though we have the same offering, and now it's evolved a bit to business technology platforms. Similarly, again, for enterprise asset management and warehouse management, the user base has kind of changed. It could be same industry or it could be a different industry, but we've seen changes in last few years, especially after the pandemic. A lot of things have changed.
Yes. Yes, and for us too over the years. I mean, we've been this will be 14 years for us in Pinnacle Global Network. And in the beginning, we used to help people start businesses. And we don't do that anymore. We don't work with startups because our team has so many years of experience building multi-million dollar companies. I know you work um, uh, who's your mentor in Pinnacle?
Marshall, I was gonna give a big shout out to him because thanks to him as well, we've seen the progress. I mean, the monthly meetings that we had with Marshall have been really good for me
Yeah,
and
so
him.
for example, right, so Marshall, who was a member of Pinnacle for a few years, and he went from 35 to 100 employees, and he went from 60 to 80-hour work weeks to, only attending 1 meeting a week, 90 minutes, and that's it. So he's really amazing, as you know. He's purchased about 20 other companies since then. But anyway, the point being is that our team has so much wisdom that we felt we wanted to really utilize that wisdom on more established companies like the one that you run, V. And so the target market is really important, and the thing is that you want to get clear on who's your perfect fit client. I mean, there are many people that could be your good fit client or your so-so fit client. What we're looking for is who is that perfect fit client, that ideal client, the client that appreciates you, that actually utilizes your product or service and really is in alignment with your values. They tell other people about you. You know those clients, the ones you really
Yes.
enjoy working with, right? Okay, so
Mhm.
that's the next piece. The next piece is, where do we find these people, right? And so you want to brainstorm with your clients and find out where they hang out, what do they read, what are the kind of events that they attend, associations that they belong to, things like that. Really do your research, even just go to those great clients of yours and ask them, and most of them will be happy to help you with that. How do we reach
This
these?
is again an excellent suggestion. So thank you. Just reaching
Yeah.
out to them, talking to them, just asking for 10 minutes of their time, like maybe a coffee we can share virtually or in person or something like that. And just talking them about it will help.
Yeah, V, absolutely. I think sometimes we feel a little bit like we're bothering somebody. But, when you have a great client, I mean, they get how hard you work in your business. And one of the ways you could pose it is to say, hey, we love working with you. You are truly one of our favorite clients. And we would love to meet more people like you. Would you mind sitting down with me for some coffee and just brainstorm a little bit where we might find other awesome people like you, other
Yes.
companies like you. And, most people would be happy to do that or jump on Zoom or something like that. So then the next piece would be to figure out, all right, we know where they're at. How do we reach them? What's the modality we're going to use? Is it going to be social media? Is it going to be going to that conference and sponsoring it? Is it going to be speaking on a stage at a conference? Is it going to be blogging for my certain industry or creating a Facebook group? Is it direct mail? Is it picking up the phone and cold calling them? There's so many different ways to reach people, but we want to narrow it down to two or three of the best ways to find these people. We have, there are umpteen ways to reach people, but you don't want to have your team going in 1,000 different directions, because then everything's going to be diluted and you're not going to do well at any of them. So really test out 2 or 3, and you got to give it some time, and you got to tweak it until you really get them optimized. So now you
Sure.
have that down. Any questions on that?
No, no, that's good. So that's what we've been doing in last like a couple of years, like testing different models and seeing what's working best for us.
Yeah, and what is working best for you?
So definitely, like there is no alternative to in person when you meet people in person at the events, and like Sapphire is one of the biggest SAP conferences in the US, and that's where we get a lot of leads. Lot of exposure, even like brand exposure for us happens at that event. That's one thing. And the second thing we've seen, especially again after the pandemic, that webinars that we do on a monthly basis have been working very good for us.
Yeah, webinars are fantastic. We do the same. And the great thing about a webinar is that you can continue to, once you refine it, you can do the same one over and over, because you're generally going to have different people on those webinars. And
Yes,
I feel like in what you do and in what we do, education, you've got to educate people on the value, and what the gaps are, and what the opportunities are. So that's a great way to reach them.
absolutely. Yes.
So then the next box is, what are you going to say? What's your messaging? So it's really critical, because you could have the right audience, but you've got the messaging that's not connecting with them. It's like, if you are like, I'm coming to you, I'm in Mexico right now. So I'm really working on my Spanish. So if I'm speaking English and they're speaking Spanish and they don't understand me, then there's really nothing that's going to happen there. And it really is like that. Even within the same language, you have to understand, you have to get clear on what's going to break through in their own thinking, that your ideal client is going to connect with.
Yeah,
And so
like you said, it's what in it for the user, and if you can convey it through your content, the user probably can relate to it better.
exactly, exactly. And one of the ways to get that messaging, V, is to really listen to what your clients are saying. you know
Yes.
Ask them, what are their fears, what are their worries, what are their dreams, what's their ideal scenario, what has been their past frustrations, and literally use those words. I heard my husband, Mike, who you've met, he's my partner. He was on a call with a woman, a businesswoman, one day, and he had the speaker on. I was, in the room, and I heard her say, "I'm so buried, I can't get my head up." And I thought,
Okay.
oh, wow. First I felt compassion for her, but I was like, yes, that's how business owners feel.
That is true.
Right? It was just the way
Yes.
she said it. And so if you can really get into the psyche of your ideal client and use those words, then people are going to hear you. They're much more likely that they're going to hear you and pay more attention and want to learn more.
Right.
So then once they start out as a prospect, you don't know these people. Now you're getting clear on, okay, these are my people. This is how I reach them. Okay, this is what I've got to say. Now, how do we move them into our arena? So if you are doing a webinar or you're at your conference that you mentioned, right? What are you doing to move them into your database, into your world? So then they move from prospect to lead. Okay. A warmer lead. So on
Mm-hmm.
the webinar, you could make an offer for something. You could offer a consultation. You could book appointments. You can sell tickets to a workshop, to an online product, a demo, have people opt in for it. There's so many different ways. Same thing with a speaking engagement. You can do the same thing. You can move people to an appointment, to an event, whatever the next step is for them to engage with you, right? And that's
Right.
when you get them into your database and you can nurture those leads. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It does.
Yeah. And so then, you can, again, they'll get to know you more from a workshop, or, you can send emails, a newsletter. You can even do the old fashioned and send them cards and, handwritten cards. People love that it was wonderful meeting them. You can also do a video text is a great way for people to see your face and remember you. And so once you start to build that, that's the know, like, and trust phase. And so then because people buy from who, they trust. There has to be that level of trust. Maybe they had a bad experience in the past. And so once they build that, then you can, take it to the next level and have a more meaningful conversation and, move them into a more of a long-term engagement for whatever the project is. Okay. And so
Yes.
that's the first 8 steps. The next part is building long-term relationships. So that's great, over delivering with customer service. And then upsells or cross sells. What else can you sell them that they might be buying from somebody else and they would prefer to buy from you because they already love you? And then build a referral community because you have such raving fans at this point that they want to refer you business. And so for each of these pieces, you are going to need a system and process, an
Right.
SOP with
Hmm.
each of these processes. So some of these pieces are going to be with your marketing team, and then some of the pieces are then going to go on to your sales team. Let's say once the leads already come into your system, then that is handed off to your sales team. Once that person has decided to move forward with you and they are now a customer, then that moves to your customer service team, right? And so you want to have a clear customer journey. And another one of the tools we have in Pinnacle is the champion customer journey. And that's literally looking at, and again, this is more of your operations and your customer service, is that once the customer is in your fold, what happens on day 1? What happens on day 2? What happens on day 7? What happens on day 30? Like, what are you doing to nurture that customer, making sure that they are feeling important, that they're getting all their needs met, questions answered, and so forth. So there's a lot of little pieces and it does take some time, but once you have these documented, then, you can free yourself and automate as much of these things as you possibly can with still
Yes.
having that human connection, which is really important.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Like you said, the human connection is important, but automating things and simplifying life is the goal. I mean, that's what I want to do, have a team led company, but also be involved for the um, overview or the vision aspect of the company, but not do the day to day stuff in the company. And again, having all these processes for each and every step makes so much more sense.
It really does. And, your team is working hard. And so when you can make it easier for them too,
Right.
because, every time sometimes we think, oh, I'll just do it myself because it's easier. It just take me 10 minutes to just do it. Instead of using that system or instead of delegating, but then when you keep repeating that over and over and over, you're wasting so much time. And so time really is, you can't get that back. And so
Right.
having these things in place to help to optimize your sales team, whether, even with a good calendaring system for your sales team, a way for them to document those conversations that they're having, a good follow up system, all of that And, it's a lot, I'm not going to lie. There are a lot of pieces to it, but just break it down and, go through the company like we talked about earlier, and then say, okay, in Q1, we're just going to work on optimizing sales. In
Okay.
Q2, we're going to work on optimizing parts of our operations and really divide it up that way. That way, you have the confidence fee that it's going to get done. You're not worrying that somebody has, let it, uh, just vanish into the ethers and you're like, what happened to that? No, it's scheduled. You know when it's going to happen, but you're not putting the stress on your team that it has to happen all at the same time because they're doing their
Right.
other things to run the business on a daily basis. And
Yes, they have to do their job, and on top of that, now help with documenting these processes. But I think, like you said, having a set timeline, not doing, because when you think about the whole thing, it's really overwhelming. But to have it into little chunks probably will be useful. Then Q1 just take care of these things, Q2 something else, and so on. Probably one step at a time. That will help us to get where we need to go.
yes, and another piece of advice with this is if you can and you have the bandwidth that somebody on your team owns this project. Like they could be really given the role of the systems and process coordinator. So even though they are not building all of these, they are in charge of just making sure that this is actually happening and that they are holding accountable the people that are responsible for it in their department of the company, and then they're reporting to you, and so that you're not having to go and talk to all these different departments.
Okay. All right.
So somebody that is really good at follow through and project management would be great for that role.
Yeah, that sounds like a wonderful idea.
Well, good. Well, I hope this was helpful. And I hope those of you that are listening, I hope this is helpful to you as well. So, V, is this something you feel like you can take back to the company and implement?
Absolutely, yes. Like everything you say, is magic. But to make this magic work, we got to take back to the company, sit down, probably have few meetings, have people assigned to each and every process, so that things can be done. And I love the idea that having a project manager consider this as an internal project and make it work, probably within a year or whatever time frame that we need, depending upon all the processes and the departments. I think this will be definitely beneficial to us, and if it does, I'll come back to you at the end of 2023 and let you know.
Yeah, that's fantastic, V. I'm excited for you and can't wait to hear about it. And for those of you listening, this is what we do every day, all day in Pinnacle Global Network is that we mentor CEOs, founders of businesses just like V, to help them grow and scale. And, we are so close to our business that we don't see these things, we're just so in it, and we have to really learn to be able to work on the business instead of in the business. So, thank you for listening to another episode of the Scale It Method. I'm really enjoying this, this setup here where we're doing coaching. I hope you're learning from it. And if you are ready to build a more scalable company that can thrive without you, and you're ready to get the support, apply for a complimentary scale session with one of our lead strategists at Pinnacle Global Network. Learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we can support you. And during your time together, they're going to really do a deep dive into your business, like I've done here with V today, and figure out the gaps that are holding you back. On the call, they're going to give you solutions you need to overcome these gaps specific for your business and your industry. So all you need to do is go to myscalesession.com, myscalesession.com to apply and schedule your time. And until next time, remember, make decisions from where you're going and not from where you're at. All right, everybody.